Stop recording automatically. Okay, wave again. Hi, everybody. Great. Now we're going to zoom in.
Okay, let me know when you're ready.
Action.
Okay, my speech is titled The History of Hip-Hop. Chances are, even if you're not a fan of hip-hop music, in some way or another you've been exposed to it in your daily life, as hip-hop has managed to make its mark on pretty much every aspect of popular culture. In my speech, I'm going to discuss the evolution and progression of hip-hop music through the years, from its origin in minority-populated inner cities to its current-day standing in popular culture and music. But first I'd like to talk about what hip-hop is and how it originated. Hip-hop, although referring to a musical genre, also refers to a larger subculture, which includes the art of DJing, breakdancing, graffiti, rap music, and just basically the overall ideals and values of that culture. But for the sake of the speech, I'm just going to stick to hip-hop as a musical genre. Hip-hop can be traced back to lower-class Jamaican dance parties known as toasting, where a host of the party would essentially get up and speak in rhythmical pattern over a breakbeat. And this is according to Professor Henry Rhodes from Yale University on his online article, The Evolution of Rap Music in the United States. He goes on to say, in 1967, Jamaican toaster Clive Campbell migrated to Bronx, New York, and took the name DJ Kool Herc, and he's actually responsible for developing the art of DJing and breakdancing in the United States. According to Stephen Hager in his book, Hip-Hop, The Illustrated History of Breakdancing, Rap Music, and Graffiti, 1974 was the first year the movement was referred to as hip-hop, and that was by a fellow named DJ Lovebug Starsky. Now that we've briefly talked about how hip-hop originated, I'd like to discuss some of the highlights of the music's evolution through the years. In 1979, the first hip-hop song to go mainstream was titled Rapper's Delight by Sugar Hill Gang. It was followed in 1984, the first rap hip-hop group to garnish mainstream success was Run DMC with their albums Run DMC and King of Rock. This is according to also Henry A. Rhodes, Yale professor. According to Henry Adosa, the About.com guide in his online article, The Hip-Hop Timeline, in 1980, Curtis Blow released Soul Train, which sold more than 1 million copies. For that time, it was a pretty big number and a clear indication that hip-hop was growing into a big business. He goes on to talk about in 1981, the Beastie Boys became the first white rap group. And then Professor Rhodes adds that in 1986, Salt and Pepper released Hot, Cool, and Vicious, which would lead more female artists to join the movement, which was typically reserved for male artists before that point. According to the Hip-Hop Timeline, in 1988, hip-hop got its first national TV show on MTV titled Yo MTV Raps, and this was essentially just a show where a host would air popular music videos of the time. So now that you know a brief history of hip-hop music, let's take a look at the genre as it stands in today's culture. Through the 90s and into the new century, hip-hop would fuse with many other genres of music, influencing and being influenced by popular culture and media. Wikipedia currently lists 42 different hip-hop subgenres, in which it is fused with genres like folk, reggae, opera, and pretty much any other musical genre you can think of. Another Wikipedia article reveals that in 2004, Nelly and Tim McGraw teamed up to release a hip-hop country single entitled Over and Over. The song actually reached #1 in Australia, Ireland, and the United Kingdom, and hit the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100, as well as in Canada and Romania. And these are just brief examples of how hip-hop has transitioned over the years and how it has affected different genres and merged with different genres. There are many more, but for the sake of staying within 3 minutes, I'm going to cut it short there. So I've covered a brief origin of hip-hop as well as some of the key points of its historical evolution. I've also touched on how diverse hip-hop has become in today's world. So in conclusion, I'd just like to restate that hip-hop was basically started in poor black neighborhoods, but over the years has grown to a multi-million-dollar industry affecting every aspect of our popular culture and evident in most people's everyday lives, including across the country in predominantly white suburban neighborhoods like Boise, Idaho, which I'm going to show you an example with some shameless self-promotion, our hip-hop duo, the Pleasantville Killers. So check us out, we're pretty cool. So that's my speech, The History of Hip-Hop, and hopefully I passed. Thank you.
We're over here, don't forget Cody.
Bye! Thank you!